Just 20 miles from London, in a quiet corner of Buckinghamshire, lies 90 acres of land that is Britain's answer to Hollywood. Hidden by trees and surrounded by fences, Pinewood Studios clearly guards its secrets. Until now, as I've been given the keys to the kingdom. I've finally got the chance to explore this incredible place and discover the magic behind some of the greatest movies ever made. The most memorable moments in screen history have been made here at Pinewood. And as it approaches its 80th birthday, I'm about to share its remarkable story. It's an unlikely tale of how a flour mill owner from Hull turned a dusty country pile into one of the largest and most influential studios in the world. Along the way, I'll meet the legendary stars it's created.
I was England's answer to Ava Gardner and The Coffee by Jezebel. I loved that one.
And I'll also seek out the unsung heroes behind the screen.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Who will restage long-lost dance numbers, reveal cutting-edge special effects, and even persuade me to attempt my very first car stunt. All leading to an ambitious underwater spectacular that will show just why Pinewood remains the beating heart of British film. I'm about to take you on a tour that will reveal the hidden mastery behind some of the most magical moments on screen. Welcome to Pinewood. Who said movie making was glamorous? Once you get past the gates, you find yourself in this labyrinth of roads, backlots and anonymous-looking office buildings that surround Pinewood's 16 sound stages. Now, it might not look much to write home about until you discover the incredible stories waiting around every corner. While it may be hard to believe, this is a dream factory that has churned out my all-time favourite films. A staggering range of timeless classics, from firm family favourites to big-budget blockbusters. The greatest names on screen and off have passed through Pinewood. But there's one figure who's taken up permanent residence. A man who's my ultimate hero.
Bond. James Bond.
The face may have changed, but the studio has remained the same.
Moneypenny, what will I do without you?
My problem is that you never do anything with me.
It's a date.
Pinewood has been the home of Bond for the past 5 decades, and much of the action has been filmed on the world's famous soundstage dedicated to 007. One of the largest in the world, it was built in 1976 to house the immense submarine sets from The Spy Who Loved Me. Since then, it's taken us to the Arctic and deep underground. And the world waits with bated breath for Bond's latest assignment in production here right now. The sound stages of Pinewood have been home to the most ambitious and iconic Bond set pieces, but arguably the most memorable scene took place out here, when Bond's Aston Martin spun through these narrow lanes and into cinema history. This, for me, is the greatest Bond film. And while I'll admit that this car chase required little more than a few cardboard boxes, it began a rich tradition of heart-stopping car stunts. You can keep your Bond girls and your exotic locations. It's the action that keeps me coming back for more. And today, I'm going to learn just how it's done from one of the best in the business. Ben Collins is the go-to British stunt driver for Bond and has got behind the wheel of some of the most spectacular vehicles on screen. Sadly, this isn't one of them. But with what I'm about to do to it, it's probably best that it's not top of the range. Yes, that is what I'm about to attempt. When I was told that Pinewood had the perfect role for me, this wasn't what I had in mind. Nicely done.
It's your ride.
Ben, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So this is the Beast.
This is your Beast, yeah. It's a little bit economy. It's only 15 years old.
I know on that, it just needs a wash, I think. It's fine, it's just a bit grimy.
It could do with a clean-up.
I was telling you about driving stunts. I assumed that most of that was done with CGI these days.
It looks so much better when you do it for real.
You think anyone could turn the car over in movie style?
Yeah, potentially anyone can do it. As long as you stick to the speed we, set you'll be fine. The beauty of, what we're doing with you is similar to what we're doing with the actors in the big screen as well, is getting them as close to the action as possible, and for you to experience it and launch one yourself is awesome.
While the team prepares the backlot for my stunt debut, I'm going to get some advice from another of Ben Collins' students, Miss Moneypenny.
Just get clear!
Naomi Harris has Ben to thank for putting her right in the heart of the action. While he sat on the roof and steered, all she had to do was hold on for dear life.
There's part of me that wishes I was driving, because you're so out of control, because obviously, Ben Collins is up top and he's doing all the driving, and you have zero control because you are a passenger effectively.
That must have been genuinely dangerous.
Yeah.
I would have thought they wouldn't have wanted to risk you like
I would have thought so as well. I didn't even know, and they were like, yeah, you're going to be in there. It's like, really? I thought they'd be shooting from afar and I'd be miles away, but no.
He's got a stunt plan for me, apparently. Do you think I should trust him? Is he going to look after me?
I think you're in the safest possible hands, okay. And with the nicest man as well.
Anything goes wrong, I'm coming for you, mate. Naomi made quite the debut in Skyfall. Finally, the lovelorn secretary got to see some action.
Take the bloody shot!
But today, she is hot foot from the set of Spectre. Do you have some favourite scenes, some favourite moments in the Bond movies that you were in?
I really, really loved the casino scene in Skyfall. Because it was just like quintessential kind of Bond movie, with all the extras so glamorous and being in this incredible location and wearing this gorgeous gown, just magical.
And that was meant to be Macau, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But was that done here in Pinewood?
Here in Pinewood, yes. We can make anything happen here in Pinewood. I mean, there are like 31 sets that were built here just for Skyfall alone. It's crazy. Really.
And what sets have they built for the new one?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
And the secrecy around the Bond films must be one of the toughest parts of the job. To actually be able to keep it quiet for as long as you have to must be almost impossible.
Especially when everybody, like you, is trying to get secrets out of us. It's really, really difficult.
But that's why I appreciate the fact that today you said you're going to tell us everything.
Did I really?
I thought that was the deal.
Really? Was that the deal?
How is Blofeld?
Okay. That was a very nice try.
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, I'm skilled at this.
Forensics finally released this.
What is it?
Personal effects they recovered from Skyfall. You've got a secret. Something you can't tell anyone. Because you don't trust anyone.
Well, Naomi has clearly been well trained to keep Bond's secrets. But there's one more thing I can try. Breaking into Bond HQ. Having made it through the door, frankly, the set isn't giving much away. So I'm hoping I can work my charm on Naomi's boss, the Big Cheese. The man who's been the guardian of Bond's legacy for the last 36 years. Executive producer, Michael Wilson. And I was kind of hoping he'd be stroking a white cat. Michael, thank you very much for having us here. It's so exciting being in Pinewood with the set of the latest Bond movie behind us. I read the rumours that there's a possible sequence in the new movie in Bognor Regis. Now, I know you can't reveal that, but if one were, an oh happy day if it happens, but if we do see Bond finally hitting Bognor Regis, will he really be there, or will Bognor Regis be recreated lovingly in the end of this space?
I'd love to make it right here, if we could.
You can't tell us anything about Spectre, I guess, at all, apart from the title?
Yeah, the title of the movie we kept under wraps for a while, but now you know.
That's out. We all know the song. It's going to be Chaz and Dave, I believe, with this one. Let me guess, so something bad is happening. Is something bad happening?
And Bond has to stop it.
So Bond is, okay, so that's...
I know, and it all takes place in Wagner Regis.
Largely on Earth. Oh, there might be a bit of space on this one.
We have a meteor.
We have a meteor. There you go. That's pretty good. That's more than I thought you'd tell us. Well, having teased out a tiny hint of what lies in store for Bond later in the year, I've now got my own date with destiny. They're ready for me on the back lot, unfortunately. Ben's colleague, Derek Lee, is the man who'll be in the hot seat beside me as I attempt my first and possibly last car roll.
Jonathan, this is Derek. He's going on this journey with you.
Nice to meet you, Derek.
He's crashed a lot of cars. They've actually named scrap heaps after you, haven't they? So, well experienced.
He's got the profile of someone who's crashed a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I've got one of those faces you can't stop eating.
What are the risks?
There's always a risk, but this car has been fully prepped. It's got mackerel on screens, roll bar, the steel plates in the floor, steel plates in the ceiling, the airbags have been disabled, dummy fuel cell, the list goes on. Believe me, all we got to do is enjoy it.
So this is as safe as it could be?
It is.
I'd always thought I'd make a fantastic Bond, but while I feel quietly confident that I will die another day, the ambulance and fire crews suggest everyone else is expecting a quantum of solace. Lucky old Naomi just had to pretend to be driving. Unfortunately, this is going to be all too real.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's it, that's it. That's a good speed.
Incredibly, all I get is just 20 minutes of tuition before I'm told I'm good to go.
So that's about right, yeah?
Yeah. You can go as fast as you want. It scrubs off speed so quick once you hit that ramp. If you go any slower than that, it just...
So we should maybe go 5 miles faster, maybe try for 30.
30?
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Okay.
Because I think, you know, once you're committed, aren't you?
That's it. So everyone should clear, Abby.
What I had hoped would be a full celebration of the last 8 decades here at Pinewood could all be over, in about 8 seconds.
Right, here we go. Go on, Jonathan. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Hit it, hit it! Well done.
Well, that was fun. I don't think I'd rush to do it again, though. Oh. We did it.
That was a blinder. He got it back on its feet.
Easier with that one because it's a bit bent.
Very good. Well done.
Fantastic. Great job.
Great job. Wow, look at that. We went to town on this. Wow.
How do you think you did?
I think I did okay. I don't think my future lies in stunt work.
I disagree. I thought that was mega. I mean, your practice runs were so controlled, you nailed it.
I think I should have just started early if I was going to do that. So I don't think Derek's got anything to worry about just yet. While I admit it wasn't that fast, and I'm only mildly furious, let's sprinkle some Pinewood magic and see how it looks on film. It's certainly been a thrill to get a taste of the action in a studio that's created some of the greatest action heroes of all time. An unrivaled cast list of gun-toting, death-defying, heart-stopping giants of the silver screen. But the original hero of Pinewood was this man.
J. Arthur Rank, a successful industrialist with little movie background, Rank is one of the richest men in England, possessor of a huge industrial fortune, which was derived primarily from a flour milling business built up by his father.
Sober, serious and a devout Methodist, For J. Arthur Rank, movies were a way to spread the word of God. So when a canny building tycoon approached him with the idea of building a British film studio, all his prayers were answered. And the location for Britain's answer to Hollywood? A country estate in leafy Buckinghamshire, Heatherden Hall. An oasis of serenity and a welcome chance to shake off my whiplash.
Walking here in these formal gardens, it's easy to forget that behind me lies thousands of square feet of back lots and sound stages. But it's this stately setting that gave Pinewood a touch of class over its American cousins. We might not be able to offer the sunshine and the palm trees, but who can resist a slice of Downton Abbey?
Construction began in 1935, and you'd think with a location better suited to fox hunting than filmmaking, and a boss with little experience, it would start off small. But no. This was gonna be big. Really big.
The supreme ambition of the studio is reflected in the name itself, Pinewood, clearly hoping to borrow some of Hollywood's Tinseltown glitter. But as Rank himself was fond of pointing out, unlike the holly, which is the bush of a small tree, the pine is big, strong and magnificent.
With the opening of the Pinewood Studios at Ivor Heath, Buckinghamshire, one of the finest and best equipped film studios in Europe is dedicated to British film production and the service of the screen.
Along with the sound stages and extensive backlots, one of the first additions to the studio was this enormous water tank. It measures 32,000 square feet and has a capacity of 806,000 gallons of water, which allowed them to sink the Titanic in a night to remember. The message was clear. Pinewood was ready for big productions and big sets. But Pinewood was lacking something that Hollywood had in abundance: stars. That didn't bother Rank, however, who, like any good factory boss, decided if you don't have something, make it yourself.
Rank scoured the land for the screen sirens of tomorrow, even opening a charm school to polish the rough edges. And the results weren't half bad. One of the star pupils was Diana Fluck. Or, should I say, Diana Dawes, Britain's answer to Marilyn. But there was one actress that the studio signed up immediately, who is returning today more than 60 years since she first passed through these gates. A woman who still has the power to turn my legs to jelly.
Those dazzle lips that know so well the art of lying. And though I see the danger, still the flame grows higher.
The glamorous, glittering, irrepressible Dame Joan Collins. Joan spent 2 years as a Rank starlet, and the studio transformed the 18-year-old girl into a screen goddess. But she spent less time making movies than posing for the studio's publicity photographer, Cornell Lucas. Cornell's masterful use of lighting immortalised legends such as Marlene Dietrich and Brigitte Bardot. His studio has long gone, but the room is still here at Pinewood.
So, this, I believe, was the studio that Cornell would have shot you in.
Oh, wow. Oh, I remember this. All those endless hours was torturous. Actually just sitting, and he put me in all these ridiculous poses, and there he is. Yeah, I thought he was quite cute. I remember that. He was kind of good looking, wasn't he?
He's stylish.
Yes.
That is like an iconic shot, I believe.
It is. He wanted me to look, I guess, sexy, and he wanted me to look grown up, which I wasn't, because I was still at drama school.
That's what's fascinating, though, because you look so self-possessed. You look sophisticated, yeah.
No. If you look in the eyes, that's a little girl trying to escape. Nice figure.
Beautiful figure.
Yeah. Oh.
Beautiful bra in that one.
That
was an unusual period for ladies' undergarments.
That is ridiculous. Why did we do that? What kind of a bra is that?
It doesn't even...
It's really embarrassing. Oh, well, that's quite cute.
Beautiful.
Look, there it is. That's the staircase.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
That's unbelievable.
That's it there,
That's amazing.
After his very first meeting with Joan, Lucas declared that this was a girl with a career ahead of her.
I was England's answer to Ava Gardner, was one of them, and the coffee bar Jezebel. I loved that one. That was
So the look, when we think of Joan Collins, we think of glamour. You still have that kind of old school glamour.
old, don't you?
I don't mean that way, but you know what I mean. I mean, like, it's a
know.
kind of a classic, and
Yeah.
you don't see it so much anymore. Was that because of your time here, do you think? Did they influence you in that way? Because you were more bohemian in your
I was
day-to-day
very
life.
bohemian. I wore black polo necks. I wore no lipstick and black eyeliner, bangs down to here. I went to jazz clubs all the time, smoked cigarettes. So when they brought me here and they started to top me up and put lipstick on me and do my hair, I wasn't really thrilled about that. And I would, you know, rub it all off, take it all off when I went home and put my civvies on.
The studio decided to cast Joan in a series of bad girl roles, including a Lady of the Night, newly released from Holloway Prison. They clearly recognised in the actress a natural ability for playing femme fatales, but in true movie style, with a heart of gold.
Good night. I was really a very wicked lady. And that's how it all started, Jonathan. The bitch began very young.
So it's really all thanks to Pinewood that we
Yes,
have
yes, obviously it's...
the bitch persona.
Yes, yes, I know. I do it well.
You do it very well.
Even though I'm not like that.
Pinewood has a rich tradition of playing host to bewitching leading ladies. From Marilyn Monroe herself to Elizabeth Taylor and Meryl Streep. But the very first grand dame of the studio, the Angelina Jolie of her day, was Anna Neagle. She was the star of the first film ever to be completed here at the studio. In 1937, London Melody. And I have rare behind-the-scenes footage which offers a glimpse of that production. But what you'll notice pretty quickly is the first film made by the studio was a musical, and it certainly wasn't the last.
We could be anything that we wanted to be. All day long, I biddy biddy bum, if I were a wealthy man. Hey, the old bamboo, never want to lose the old bamboo. Do you hear the people sing the song of angry men?
Pinewood is full of surprises, from camp crowd pleasers to timeless pop classics and big budget blockbusters. This studio has given us some of the greatest musicals ever made.
1, 2,
and there's one woman who's been carrying on that rich tradition here at Pinewood. World-renowned choreographer Francesca James. She worked here on one of my favourite musicals of all time, Sweeney Todd.
Of course, when she goes there, poor thing, they're having this all in masks. There's no when she...
But today, on Stage E, she's going to recreate her own favourite number for us, which is...
We're doing a sequel from Muppets Most Wanted, and I think the reason for that is because A, I had 65 dancers, and I could reference Busby Berkeley, Esther Williams, Donald O'Connor, Fred Astaire, all the greats, and we had an absolute ball.
We're doing a sequel. It's more of the same. Let's give it a name. How about the Muppets again? It's the Muppets again.
And there was a section in the middle which didn't make the cut of the movie, but it pays homage to all the comedic performers. We have people falling into baskets, we've got a guy with a plank, people chucking hammers. It was joyous.
But that must be heartbreaking when you've got something which you love that much, and then probably for reasons of pace, I imagine, it just doesn't make the final.
Well, it was heartbreaking, but I should have put a Muppet in it. I should have put one just popping out of the teapot, because then it would have made the cut.
The clue was in the title of the film.
Yeah. It's not about me, is it?
Wasn't called The Dancers Movie.
No.
But just for us, Fran has gathered together her dancers to recreate that deleted scene.
we've got Leon and Ross who have the brooms. So you think they're just two guys sweeping up. And you get the classic trip.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a little throwaway. Yeah, you start with an idea and you just build it. So Lee is actually going to step forward and she will be in point shoes.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they will measure her and everything's to a particular rhythm. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Would you like to step through? Yeah.
That's me done. That is me. Seriously, that's me done.
Well, I think it's best I leave it to the professionals. So, sit back and enjoy Fran's lost scene. Slotted seamlessly right back where it belongs.
I thought it was the end, but no, my friends, this is when we get to do it all again. Do it all again. Until the credits roll, we've got another go to show that we can do it all again. Let's give it a go.
With Hollywood stars
and one-liner cameos. We're doing a sequel.
I don't mean to be a stickler, but this is the 7th sequel to our original motion picture.
But back in 1938, just as the studio was beginning to find its feet, the singing and dancing suddenly came to an abrupt halt. The nation faced its darkest hour.
The government requisitioned the studio and shut down production, using the space to rehouse key departments away from the heart of London and the bombing. But the arrival of the Royal Mint at least allowed the studio to boast it was finally making money.
But filming was still happening in secret. The Army Film and Photographic Unit moved in, and with it a number of young, enthusiastic filmmakers, including twin brothers Roy and John Bolching, and a young sergeant called Richard Attenborough. All employed to make a series of stirring war films to show those Jerrys that the British stiff upper lip never wobbles.
OK, with 2 engines and just enough fuel. I'm taking you home, boys.
Good for you, Johnny. OK, Skipper, that's the stuff. I've got a date tonight.
In short, Pinewood had become a nursery for new talent, and as soon as the war was over, Rank swiftly reopened the studio, eager to build on it. Suddenly, Pinewood was back in business. And how?
In just a few short years, the studio produced arguably the finest British films ever made. Powell and Pressburger gave us a stunning melodrama and a surreal musical. And it was David Lean's classic take on Dickens that brought Sir John Mills to the studio and heralded the arrival of a family that would come to live and breathe Pinewood. I'm attending a rather special screening at the studio with none other than his daughter, Hayley.
You had a child once, whom you loved and lost. She lived and found powerful friends. She is living now. She is a lady and very beautiful. And I love her.
Well, they don't make them like that anymore. That's a powerful scene, isn't it?
Yes. Gosh, I'm glad I've got a hanky.
Wow.
Yes.
It's quite something.
Beautiful movie.
So that's your father in one of the greatest British movies of all time.
Yes.
Shot here at Pinewood. Did he talk to you about the experience of making that?
Well, he loved making that movie. It was
brilliant part, and I think one of the very best, you know, movies of a Dickens story that you can imagine. It was very true. It had great integrity. He was very proud of it. Pinewood is very much part of his life, and part of all our lives, really.
Hayley, of course, was a huge star in her own right and filmed one of her most moving roles here at Pinewood, playing a young girl who believes she's found Jesus in her barn.
We know who you are. And we're going to look after you. We'll try and get you some better stuff next time.
Were you ever working here concurrently with your sister and with your dad? Were you ever, the three of you, making different films at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. In 1961, my dad was doing Tiara Tahiti with James Mason. My sister was doing Twice Round the Daffodils, and I was doing In Search of the Castaways. I nearly burnt my dressing room down because I put a pair of these awful green trousers that I was wearing in the film. They got wet, I don't know why, and I hung them over this electric radiator, and they caught fire. And if somebody hadn't seen smoke billowing out of my dressing room door, the whole thing would have gone up in flames.
You could have been the girl who destroyed Pinewood.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you weren't.
I don't think I fully appreciated how much a part of my growing up these studios have been.
In 1948, Great Expectations scooped 2 Oscars for the studio, so you'd imagine the worries of the war years were long gone. But Rank had a keener eye for talent than he did for budgets. Pinewood was in fact hemorrhaging money. The next big drama for the studio would happen in the boardroom.
A swift change of management saw Rank take a back seat and an accountant take the helm. Budgets were slashed and the books were balanced. But this scared off some of the more creative directors. Those early classics that had won international acclaim were replaced by films with a uniquely homegrown appeal.
The new era was characterised by the latest star to be signed up to the studio. Hollywood had Brando and Bogart. Pinewood had Norman. In the 1950s, Norman Wisdom was already a popular stage performer, but it was Pinewood that made him a screen superstar, with a winning formula of slapstick and hapless charm. It might seem dated today, but in 1954, Norman Wisdom's first film won him a BAFTA. Then, in 1963, the little fellow in the flat cap delivered a knockout blow to James Bond, toppling From Russia With Love to become #1 at the box office. The studio was laughing all the way to the bank. So Norman's success was swiftly followed by the Doctor films with a similar recipe of madness and mayhem, back when the NHS was something to laugh about. OK, they weren't going to win any prizes for originality, but if it ain't broke, why fix it?
In the 1950s and 60s, the studio became a comedy factory, and there was one formula that worked time and time again. Or, to put it another way, it would carry on and carry on.
The genius of the series was its simplicity. Take a regular troupe of actors and send up a familiar British institution. The Army, the NHS, and here at Pinewood, nothing was more perfect for parody than Bond.
So, in the same year that Goldfinger came out, Carry On Spying saw the arrival of another national treasure. Less 00, more double D.
Pinewood was about to launch its secret weapon, Britain's greatest blonde bombshell.
Wow. Barbara. That is arriving in style.
Not bad, eh?
Wow.
Now, you're going to drive me around?
Yeah, I'll show for you.
Yeah, okay.
Because I want to see, I want your memories of this place. Okay, you ready to go?
Yes, I am,
Hold on tight.
darling. Yes.
Enough. Stop the optical device.
Barbara's debut was already the 9th Carry-On film in the series.
Open your mouth. Now you understand what you have to do.
And it took some persuading from her agent to really get her teeth into it.
Now.
He said, well, they're doing the last of the black and white. And it was with Bernie Cribbins, who was a friend. And I thought, well, that would be rather nice, you know. And he said, you'll learn about filming on that. You'll realise you're OK. You imagine you're used to it.
So it was like going to school almost?
Yes, it was.
Right, you can come in now.
And my first scene was with Kenneth.
Oh, good evening.
Kenneth had this long beard down him, and he was being a bit stroppy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes, here. Oh, never mind. Hair today, gone tomorrow.
On my first line, I went, oh, I'm so sorry. And he went, oh, Ducky, do get it right. And I said, I was so upset that he didn't say that's all right and made me feel an idiot. I went, don't you ever go at me with Vanilla Fielding's minge hair around your chops.
It's a bit of a grey day. I'm sorry to have dragged you down.
It's perfect. It wouldn't have been right had it been sunny. We never had a sunny day in our life, did we?
So you filmed even when it was bad weather, you'd film outside?
No, it didn't matter. Won't show, they used to say.
While the films were big hits at the box office, the production team still kept a tight rein on the budget, using every possible corner of the studio as a set.
This, I think, if I'm right thinking, this was more Nookie Hall.
It was. But we did everything there. It looks very grand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's been a hospital, it's been a bit of a palace, it's been everything, you know.
Well, how about a kiss, Mrs. Nookie, eh?
I definitely know. I've seen this in probably, I think, almost every film.
Everything.
We all have favourite memories of Carry On, but for Barbara it was here, in the formal gardens behind the house, where she got closest to playing a Windsor.
This is where we filmed my favourite film of all time, Carry On Henry. I loved it because it was all the wonderful costumes, and we used the costumes from the Richard Burton film, and Sid would look wonderful in them.
With all those beautiful ladies in there, why on earth did you pick on me?
Well, it was a couple of things, I suppose.
Oh, Madge, you're only after one thing.
Why? What's the matter with the other one?
But we can't complete this trip down memory lane without seeking out the location of a scene that left a very big impression on my formative years.
Does this bring back memories, though, now you're here?
Well, no, it doesn't, because, I mean, it looks like a dump, doesn't it? But then when I think about it, so did the scene, didn't it, in Carry On Camping?
Fling and in, and fling and in, and fling. Matron, take them away.
And he got this fishing rod and this hook. And, of course, I had to go, and Kenny had to go, off they go, and off they go, you see it. And then he had to pull it, and it had to go flying. And I said, it won't happen. Oh, yes, it will. Anyway, it didn't. And what was the first time it happened? I got pulled, and I went into the mud.
So the fishing rod pulled you?
Well, you would, you see, yeah, you know, like that. There's the old bra there.
There's the bra there.
Yeah, and it's going like that, and it wouldn't come up, so pick her up, mop her down, let her go for another take. And I can hear Kenneth saying in the background, treated like a load of shit, it's a disgrace. Don't you stand for it, Barbara. Like, what are you going to do? But I loved it. It's how I imagined Hollywood to be.
It was. It was England's Hollywood.
Yes, it was great.
Carry On was a phenomenon, lasting over 20 years and 30 films.
I won't ask how far you want to go. I might get the wrong answer.
Only to the bottom, my dear.
But by the 1970s, the joke was wearing thin, and increasingly, the studio found there was little to laugh about.
The 3-day week, strikes, power cuts, the government had more on its mind than propping up a failing British film industry. Alongside with the growth of popularity of television, it looked like Pinewood's glory days were over, until, on the horizon, a glimmer of hope appears. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Well, you know the rest.
I was a socially awkward 17-year-old in East London when the posters for Superman came out with one big promise. You'll believe a man can fly. Little did I know that over in Pinewood, there was an increasing mood of panic. how do you make it happen? The Superman flying unit spent months trying different techniques, from catapulting dummies to radio-controlled models, even animation, before turning back to traditional wire rigs, with mixed results. The problem was the crew at Pinewood had become preoccupied with launching Superman across the screen, when in fact he didn't need to move a muscle. But it would take a real action man to show them how it could work.
The trick is this, that everything that appears to be moving is actually static, and everything that's static is actually moving. Once you get around that, it's that easy.
Zoran Perisic was the unlikely hero of the hour. He worked out that if you mounted Superman on a giant metal pole, all the movement could be achieved by moving the camera in what Zoran called his Zoptic system.
It consists of a small projector, which is light and easily maneuverable. The background picture, like for example New York skyline, is projected from here. It goes through a zoom lens via a two-way mirror onto a front projection screen. The artist, in this case Superman, stands in front of the front projection screen, and the composite picture of the background and the foreground is seen by the camera lens.
Zoran had cracked it.
This was the first shot that we did. It's totally out of sequence, but it was the first shot that we did where everybody descended from the producer, director, everybody from the offices, even the secretaries descended on the stage to look at it on the video monitor. So everybody realized that it was going to work even before we saw the finished product.
And was this the moment when you knew you had it nailed?
I went to a screening in Plymouth, of all places. I thought
it was about as far away from the
as far away from the movie business,
yeah.
And I'm sitting in this screening room in the theatre, you know, just a regular theatre in Plymouth. And when that scene of the helicopter and Lois Lane falls out and Superman flies in and catches her, the audience stood up. Yeah. I thought, my goodness, we must have done something right.
But Zoran, you know, in the 70s in Plymouth, maybe they'd never seen a helicopter before. maybe.
That might have been it.
At the time, this was revolutionary. The film was a smash hit, Zoran earned himself an Oscar, and Pinewood had proved it could make anything possible. And they're still doing it today. Here in the Creative Workshop, I'm about to demonstrate how far they've come since Superman. Welcome to the world of 3D scanning.
OK, Jonathan, if you'd like to just centre yourself up.
Well, so above the big cross there.
That's it, lovely. And you're looking straight at the orange marker.
Do you want me to throw a few crazy shapes for you?
Beautiful.
Yeah? My eyes. And then if we wanted to do a more kind of classic, heroic kind of pose, I guess.
Yes, probably sort of just weight on the back feet a little bit, head up, chin out. Oh,
stomach in.
All good?
And then all the images will be joined up and knitted together.
Yeah, this is going to show everything.
And maybe I won't look then.
Be afraid. Be very afraid. In just a few seconds, I've been immortalized forever. Who knew I had so many dimensions?
So here we have the scan that was done of you earlier. This is the underlying mesh of your body.
I'm looking pretty good.
Pretty good. And for a small fee, we could touch it up a little bit.
I think we know where to start.
Yeah.
So how would this be used? I see that you can move it around and we can see me from all angles now.
It can be used for all sorts of things, to create a computer-generated version of you on the screen. It's used to make physical casts of people to build their costume.
And so you're working step by step towards finally getting rid of those annoying actors.
Well, no, we're working towards enhancing the charming and lovely actors.
Tim Webber is a superstar of special effects. He's worked on Harry Potter, The Dark Knight, and even scooped an Oscar for Gravity.
What's the kind of legacy of Pinewood when it comes to special effects? What kind of echoes do you feel reverberating to your work?
Well, a huge amount, I think. You know, Pinewood and special effects, you know, have a very strong link, going back to the matte paintings in Black Narcissus.
I didn't realise until comparatively recently that they hadn't used any locations.
It is very strange when you see the final shot and then what was originally filmed, and she's, you know, a few feet above the ground, and it feels incredibly vertiginous when the matte painting's there, and it looks seamless in many ways.
The master of visual effects, the way Harryhausen, the man who more or less single-handedly kept stop motion alive. I suspect if you put that in a movie today, an audience might not take it as seriously as we did as kids. Is that something that you have to be aware of?
Definitely, yes. I think the qualities of stop motion, and it has some fantastic qualities, you know, you could use them in a knowing way in the right sort of movie to give it a very specific style, but audiences' expectations of reality have increased massively. Every movie we improve, they expect more for the next movie.
I guess the real challenge is always getting the balance right, so that we don't have a film which is all spectacle but no heart.
If you haven't got a heart in your movie, it doesn't matter how many visual effects or how much spectacle you throw at it, it's not going to be an interesting movie. It's got to have some human emotion and some heart in the core of it.
Great story, great characters.
All of that.
Believable plot.
Yeah.
Big challenge, great villain.
Yeah.
And a little bit of special effects.
Oh, exactly, all of the classic things. Yeah.
Over its 80 years, Pinewood has grown to become more of a small town than a studio. Home to set builders, prop makers, editors, sound mixers, costume designers, makeup artists, and of course, special effects supervisors. But there is one person that they all answer to. One person where the buck finally stops. The director. Movie maverick Matthew Vaughn has redefined superheroes and spies for a whole new generation. And I want to know why he's chosen to make his biggest hit at Pinewood.
That is sick.
When you think of Pinewood Studios, what do you think? What are the qualities that make Pinewood what it is?
It's the British charm of bad food, sound stages which are really cow sheds, and no air conditioning. But apart from that, I love it. You know, we've got the best film crews in the world.
And why are the craftsmen as revered as they are? I would have thought, okay, you know, someone who's building a set is going to build it the same in Los Angeles as they will in Hong Kong as they will in Pinewood.
I'm amazed every time I've worked with a British crew how much better they are. In England, you meet people that want to be the best carpenter or the best sound guy, the best editor. They're very, you know, they want to be the best of what they do. We're a bunch of British guys together having a laugh on and off the camera. And that makes a real difference when you're against the ropes. We do get on with it and make great films. What I like about Kick-Ass, so we shot that all at Pinewood. Everybody thinks it's an American film, that we managed to recreate New York and Buckinghamshire.
That's great, we're superheroes, love us.
What would your favourite scenes be, where you think you nailed it, but also in terms of the impact it had, the ones that the audience loved the most, and why you think that is?
For Kingsman, I'd say the pub scene, the first pub scene when we see Colin beating the living daylights out of some ruffians.
Manners maketh man.
Everyone was like, can Colin Firth really pull this off? And I didn't know.
Do you know what that means?
So it was a bit of a gamble.
Are we going to stand around here all day? Or are we going to fight?
British cinema has always been about punching above our weight, and the way you do it is you have to be different. With Kick-Ass and with Kingsman, we put a lot of humour into it, which made it unique. We couldn't afford to do the big set pieces. So, you know the English mentality. If there's a problem, make a joke.
I have trouble understanding you people sometimes. You all talk so funny.
Matthew Vaughn's high-octane, stunt-filled extravaganzas are what Pinewood does best.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And there's one small corner of the studio still to visit, where all the really big action takes place. The perfect setting for our final epic scene.
I was very excited to be coming in here, but it doesn't actually look that much. It looks a bit like we're in a sort of municipal swimming pool somewhere. It's not... this isn't the glamour of Pinewood that I'd been led to expect. Is this really where you do all the underwater stuff?
Absolutely. At the moment, it's like a completely empty film or television studio. We need to bring our imagination into it, and then with imagination and money, the budget, you could then build incredible things.
Mike Valentine is the best underwater cinematographer in the business, with a number of slippery tricks up his sleeve.
On the last Bond film, Skyfall, we had a sequence with Daniel Craig falling through and having a fight under the water, and this was full of wax on the surface so that he could actually simulate ice on the water. Star Wars Episode 1, where they've got to swim to that amazing city with Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor. So we came up with an idea that they could take a Jedi breathing device out of their pockets and put them in their mouth and breathe. And it was made from 2 spark plugs that are welded together with a little mouthpiece on, and they could just swim around. If anyone watching that scene again, have a look. It's just a couple of spark plugs.
2 spark plugs and a little bit of the Force, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
This is the best underwater stage on the planet, and to prove it, Mike is going to put it through its paces, transforming this pool into a dramatic film set. And to help out, I've donated the prop. Imagine my trusty Mondeo has spun off the road in a storm and crashed into a shallow river. In preparation, the car has been meticulously cleaned to ensure nothing can muddy the crystal clear water. A scaffold has been constructed to allow the car to be winched into position. And a section of fake riverbed is dressed underneath. Finally, tubes of gas are fed into the engine to set it on fire. And now to really build the tension. This is the very tank where Sandra Bullock crash-landed into the sea before swimming to safety. And where poor Keira Knightley was not quite so fortunate. In tribute, we're going to film a classic damsel in distress scene. All we need is a willing damsel.
So, Sarah, you're playing someone in danger. You're playing someone who's trying to get out of the situation. If you were in actual danger, you'd be doing the same thing. So how do they know when you're acting? I mean, is there the underwater equivalent of, like, a safe word?
Well, if you need air all of a sudden, then this is the sort of sign that
so you
we
go
give
like
them.
that. So you
yeah.
Okay, got that. Oh, well, I can't wait to see it. Good luck, of course. Fingers crossed. Give me a wave if you're in trouble, I'll be straight in.
Brilliant, can't wait for that.
I mean, I'm going to take my jacket off and hang it first, obviously.
Yeah, no.
So, you know, give me 2 minutes, but I will be, eventually I will arrive.
Brilliant.
So I'll come with it. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Time to go for a take. And while I'm not sure Sarah believed me, I am positioned in the support boat. At a safe distance, of course. It's fair to say that Sarah's having a pretty bad day. She's about to be locked inside a car that's submerged underwater. At least it's not on fire. Oh, me and my big mouth.
3, 2, 1, and action. And up.
The director at poolside is able to communicate directly with Sarah and Mike while they're underwater.
That's it, bang the window now. Very nice. Perfect. Open the door.
But after just a few minutes, it's clear Sarah is having some difficulty.
Are you okay? Push it up. Air, please. Thank you. Cut. Cut. Everyone to the surface.
Welcome back to the land of the living. So how was that for you?
Not too bad, but the dress is really sort of wrapping around my legs at the moment, so just fighting against that a little bit. Hoping it's going to be a bit better next time.
Okay, so you're going to go for another take, are you?
Yes.
Okay, good luck again. It looks great for me. I couldn't see anything wrong with it.
Sarah gamely goes again. The challenge for everyone is that filming underwater takes twice as long. And of course, there's only so much time in a day. and energy in an actress.
And regulator out when you're ready. 3, 2. Hold the breath outside, please, whoever the diver is. 1. Action.
Sarah and the crew are not the only ones holding their breath.
Opening the door. Out she comes. Okay, and cut!
But this time, it's a wrap.
Wow, well done. That was the smoothest air. I'm really getting a feeling and a sense of how hard it must be swimming in there.
Yeah, it's not the easiest, but that one seemed to go a lot better. I think I'm happy with that
You
one.
definitely nailed it. Can I give you a... Let's call it a day now. Let me give you a hand. You come in here, mate. Don't pull me in now, okay? I know it's tempting. Oh, blimey. That dress, I'm not sure where to put my hands. Here we go. Let me get you in.
So let's take a look at the final cut and discover if Sarah is destined to live happily ever after. If I've learned nothing else on this tour, it's that filming is a risky business. And Pinewood should have sunk without trace more than once over the last 80 years. But time and time again, it's come back from the brink.
Pinewood's story has been as tense and dramatic as any film script, but its ability to adapt to changing times has seen it become one of the largest and most successful studios in the world.
A constant master of reinvention. In the last year alone, we've seen Matthew's Kingsman and Branagh's breathtaking Cinderella. And fewer franchises are bigger or more hotly anticipated than Bond. Although, of course, there is Star Wars. Not bad for an octogenarian out in the sticks.
Celebrating leading figures in British cinema, Julie Walters tells all in conversation with Richard E. Grant. That's tomorrow night at 8 on BBC4. And staying at Pinewood, where behind the scenes of a Laurence Olivier film, there's a life-changing romantic week with Marilyn next.